FM.
Broadcasting from Nadoli Calio, 88.5. Good music and great talk all day.
8 minutes after the hour of 11, this is where we jump inside and we say good morning to you. Welcome inside another edition of Family Matters. Of course, before you heard house guests with Bree. Of course, let me shout out to Bree along with her guests for the morning. Hey, this morning we have no other. Every time, well, most times she's always here with us. Apart when she's always busy. But what I love about her, she always tries to manage time to make time to be here. All right, and she's here this morning along with her guests. Let me welcome you. Welcome inside another edition, Miss Bojimet.
Thank you so very much, Ellen. And listeners, my apologies as usual for not being here every Wednesdays. Of course, I'm very busy. Yes, and this morning with me, we have a very special guest. And Division of Human Services, we don't work alone. As we know, we work along with stakeholders. So we do a lot of networking. And one of the persons we work closely with is our CRB officer. So today we have our CRB officer, Mr. Lyndon Stephen. I will let him give you a little more about him. And we are here to talk about the law and, of course, penalties for breaking the law. So over to you, Mr. Stephen.
Thank you, Ms. Bodimet. Thank you, Ellen.
Yes.
Wonderful good morning to everybody. It's nice being here again. It's been a while. Yes, my name is Lyndon Stephen. I'm a police officer. I've been since 2011. I am the Community Relations Officer for SUFRE, where we deal with young persons in the communities, in the schools, persons in the SUFRE community itself who need assistance and cannot get it otherwise. So, they come to the police station, they ask for the CRB officer, and then we see how we can meet their needs. Sometimes, you have to make things happen for persons who otherwise cannot get things done within the normal avenues provided to them. So yes, that's me in a nutshell. I love what I do and I enjoy working with young persons, and education is very important. So this morning here, it's more about education and educating the public as to the roles and responsibilities, especially when it comes to school attendance and what surrounds school attendance. Yeah.
Okay, definitely. So, of course, I'm hoping that persons who are listening, feel free to call in, feel free to make your contributions. All right?
All right, you at 459-785 or 730-5388. Again, the number 730-5388. Send us a WhatsApp, send a voice note, whatever the case may be.
Definitely. So I go back to Officer Stephen.
Yes. So this morning, sometime last month, Miss Bodymate reached out to me and said, like, "You want to come on the show with me?" I was like, "What? Yeah, I already used a call." That's well within my forte. I'm comfortable here, so that's not an issue. So we've decided to discuss the attendance of school of students, and one thing you need to understand is that you cannot decide whether you want to attend school or not when you fall within the age bracket where you should be in school. The law says it is compulsory that you attend school. And I am reading from the Education Act 1801, that's the section. I'm reading from section 27, right? Division 3 in it, admission and attendance of students. And it reads here, 27, section 1 says, every child shall attend school from the beginning of the school year in which that child attains the age of 5 until the end of the school year in which that child attains the age of 15. Every child shall attend school. It's not some children, it's not if you want. It says every child shall attend school, right? Starting at the age of 5, where I think it's preschool or grade K.
This is kindergarten.
Right.
Yes, 5.
So from kindergarten all up to 15, where 15 most times that you get to Form 5, you are 15. Some persons are 16 at Form 5.
Yes.
But there are a fair amount of persons who are 15 at Form 5, at that school living age. So within 5 and 15, the law says you shall attend school. You're supposed to be in school, right? There are mitigating factors where you are given time where you're not supposed to, where you should not be in school, but these things, we will talk about those things. But barring those things, you should be in school.
Definitely. Even now, with the access from 5, but now the ministry is asking that person's children attend pre-kindergarten, which is your preschools and so on, so that at least when they come in, they're already socialized to some extent and ready for grade K. Yes.
So I think if we speak about that, people will say like the security was just telling me outside, but I seen school children everywhere. Why aren't those children in school? And I'm saying to you that according to the law states that they should be in school, and there is a procedure to deal with that, because every school has an attendance. When you come in the morning, you come in and the teacher marks you absent or present, right?
Definitely.
So if, for example, you have not come to school for, let's say, 3 weeks, you haven't come to school, and the teacher realizes, okay, then there's definitely a problem. Maybe the first week they realize there's a problem. They would reach out to the parent. Hey, we have not seen Erlen this morning. Where is he? What's the issue? Is he sick or something? And the parent will say, well, okay, Erlen fell on a bike over the weekend. He's sick. He's hospitalized, whatever. What happens, as in the workplace, you provide a teacher or the principal of the school with a medical document so that they can put that on the file that the child was not at school during that time, and that is the reason why they're not at school. There is a genuine reason why the child is not at school, because the child has a medical certificate. Barring that, you can just say, oh, Ishmael Maladi having the color here, and tomorrow, miraculously, your child is recovered. I go to Soufriere Primary, and I have conversations with Miss Clovis, and Miss Clovis is one of those principals who goes to the homes, because Soufriere Gila, Mama come in Nagila. So Miss Clovis would go to your home and, I did not see your child for 2 days. What is wrong? Oh, Miss, they have the flu. And tomorrow, miraculously, the flu is gone. Miraculously, the flu is gone.
Oh, one of the things they always say is that I have nothing to give my child to go to school. But what the school always tells them, there is a school feeding program.
Yes.
So why say you have nothing? So if you have nothing to send them to school, what are you giving them in the home? Okay.
And one thing we see as well, most of the students who go to schools in the Soufriere Basin are from Soufriere. So all of the schools are walking distance.
Yes.
You have nothing to feed the children, send them to school. There's the school feeding program where the kids get a hot meal on a daily basis. All right? There's literally no excuse why your child should not be at school. They don't have food, there is food in the school. They're missing a school shoe, they're missing a school bag. These things, along with the principal, sources those things out for those children. So the provisions are made for your child to be educated and to be at school. However, persons take it upon themselves and make excuses. People, if your child has to be at school, why make excuses? Oh, if I've call. So the child becomes the parent and the parent becomes the child. That's what it is.
So this is why we're talking about the law and also consequences of breaking that law. So that's why we put that part in.
Yes.
Also, when Officer Stevens said Soufriere, but we were looking at overall we were looking at St. Lucia.
Yes.
And even then, when you're not of walking distance to your school, I know that there are buses that are subsidized for children. Even when you have issues with your buses, you have issues, parents, you reach out to someone, go to the social worker, go to the school, find help. Because I am sure if you need help for yourself, parents, you know where to go. So, of course, you should reach out to get help for your children. Because education, it is important. There is no ifs, but, or maybes about education. Before, and like a parent rightfully said yesterday, I was at a mediation and I heard a parent telling Officer Stephen, it's not like before. C'est pas comme avant, nous te travailler, nous pas te briser papier. Actuellement, comment c'est cacation briser papier. And that is so true. You need to be certified, and you cannot be certified away from school. So in days of long ago, you could have done what you wanted For example, you're a teacher at the school for so long, so because of your number of years, you'd be promoted, you become the principal, you'll be. Now that's not the way. You'll be there for donkey years and not be certified and not go anywhere. You'll not get a promotion.
Yes.
So of course now education is very important and it starts at the basis. So parents, it is your duty to send the children to school. It is not Officer Stephen, myself, the principal, who have to come in to tell you the importance of education. Because when your child is not doing well tomorrow, you will want to blame everybody. Oh, fire, sir. If I can't join a job, you can't time, this and that and the other, because he knows. See, take blanc. Excuses upon excuses start coming out. And you don't want to blame yourself. So I'm going to pass on to Officer Stephen to tell us the penalties for not sending children to school.
So I told you a while ago of the compulsory school age between at 5 and at 15, compulsory school age. And then the law says, 46(1) says, a parent of a child of compulsory school age who neglects or refuses to cause, this is a very interesting part there, refuses to cause that child to attend school unless the child is excused under section 48, which we'll get to in a while, commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $1,000. So imagine you do not have money to send that child to school. So that child remains home. And then the truancy officer comes through, does the investigations and realize that child has not gone to school for 2 or 3 months. And the excuses that are given to the truancy officer are not those that are in the law why your child should not be at school. And so the file is passed on, and you are now charged, and you are now facing a charge of possibly $1,000 because you have refused to send your child to school, or what I like here, to cause your child to attend school. Because some people say, oh, you have like call esmakai forcing. Your responsibility is to cause that child to attend school. So you have now to go to all the channels that you have to go to make sure that child is at school. Go to the school, speak to the principal. Come speak to Ms. Bonyumet. Come to the station, speak to the police officers. You have to cause that child. So when the truancy officer comes to your home now and says to you, what have you done?
Exactly.
Why is that child not at school? You can say for a fact, officer, sir or ma'am, I went to Ms. Body, made reference to that child, and we had this discussion on that day and that day and that day. I went to the school, and we had this discussion. This is what has been done. So the truancy officer will see that you are playing your part. You have actively tried to get that child to school. But to sit back and say, if I play call, that is not an excuse. Your child is supposed to be at school. And section 2 says here, the court may, instead of imposing a fine, and that is, I rather that one than the fine, require a person convicted of an offense under the section, that is section 1, to enter into a bond not exceeding $1,000 with one or more shorties. So you have to have maybe your grandmother, your mother, your husband, or whoever to sign for you, approved by the court on condition that the person shall enter after the expiration of 5 days to cause the child to enter school. Right? So, in all of what is said there, I will break it down to you. The court may decide, okay, well, you do not have the $1,000, we will not charge you now. We'll give you 5 days to cause that child to go to school. And if in 5 days that child has not attended school, then you are now required to pay the $1,000. So they will give you the opportunity now, haven't been found guilty. You are now given the opportunity to get that child to the school. And if after 5 days the child still has not attended school, then you will come back to the courts and you will be charged the $1,000, which I think is a much better option, because now you have been found guilty, you realize, okay, my fault. Now you've been given an opportunity now to fix it. Get that child to school within 5 days, or you pay that $1,000. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful way forward. And I think that's great. Yes, it's a very, very good option.
Definitely.
Yes. I wanted to ask, before we got into all of that, is there something in place where, let's say, a parent in Soufrière has a child who goes to PI, for example, or Choiseul, or maybe even outside of the basin? Mm-hmm. Can they come to the social worker and speak to the social worker, let the social worker know that, I really cannot afford to send the child to PIE. I don't have the bus money. I cannot afford to pay the bus. Is there something in place that you can assist them with?
Okay, so we would not directly be able to assist, but of course, like I said, our sister bodies, we have the SSDF, we have welfare. We would refer them to SSDF and welfare for assistance. Okay, and one of the things we try to encourage parents to do, if you do not have the bus fare to send your child to Choiseul and your child has the grades to go to Soufre Compre, why not send your child to a closer school? So these are the things that parents need to look into, because don't send your child out there because oh mavle is and then tomorrow you have all the problems with the bus.
Yes.
Secondly, as I said, there are subsidized buses, and we could also assist with the government buses to see that the child is on a bus. So there are things that we assist with. So you come to us and we would send you over to our sister bodies, that we have SSDF who assist and welfare, to see how much we can assist. And of course, I'm letting parents know resources are limited. So we cannot say, okay, I'll go to the social worker with him. Oh, you can't even you passing the new you can family bagay. Resources are limited because we help the entire nation. We don't just help Soufre, we help everybody in St. Lucia. So of course, parents, like I said earlier, try your best to send your child closer to you. If you know, of course, you have financial difficulties, send the child closer.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, and one thing my mom used to always say,
Exactly.
Yes, because it's easier for you as a parent, things are already not bright, to send your child to Soufre Compre. Because if something happens, maybe you have to go to a PTA meeting or whatever, you as the parent can just take a cool walk to the school.
Yes.
As opposed to the child is at PI or Choiseul where you already don't have the money. You now have to provide for the child to go to PI or Choiseul. To visit the school, you now have to pay a bus.
Exactly.
So
it's a lot. Because even me as a parent, when my first daughter went to secondary school, she got grades to go to St. Joseph's Convent. Everybody said, oh, send her, that's the best school on island. Anywhere the child is a child performs, as long as your child is intelligent and is in a conducive environment.
Agreed.
You know what I just said? Exactly what you said. I want my child close enough that I can run to her anything happens. And of course, the cost. It's a lot to send a child all the way to Castries from Choiseul.
yes.
So, yeah.
You see, it's very easy, and that's something we find a lot when persons come to the station. You know, before you start, they ask for help. They ask for assistance. Officer, my child doesn't want to go to school, this and that and whatever. They're always on the phone, they're always on the tablet, they're always on this. And then you make recommendations. Well, why don't you take away the things that they like? Why don't you take away the laptop, take away the tablet, take away the phone? Officer, phone So it's like a double-edged sword. You come and ask for assistance, we render the assistance to you, and then you say, so what do you want the officer to do? You want the officer to take his personal vehicle or take the police vehicle, come to your home every day, pick up your child, dress your child for school, and bring them. The police vehicle becomes a school bus.
But of course, where is the role of the parents?
Exactly.
So this is why I keep lamenting, and I will continue to do so. Parents, be parents. You are not your child's friend. You are not your child's buddy. You are a parent. This is why your child cannot make decisions for themselves. This is why they are children. And you are the legal custodian. They are in your care. So you are making decisions for your children. So don't tell me, you are in my house, under my roof, I provide you with everything that you need. I have to make decisions for you, sign on your behalf, and I cannot take a phone from you. Come on now, parents.
In whose house?
In
whose house?
Come on now, parents. Okay? And as I said again, I'm moving away a little. As I said again, disciplining, parenting does not begin at the age of 10 and above. It begins when your child is born. You begin when the child is born to discipline this child, to create a routine, to have this child know right from wrong. Too many times I see parents allow children from the age of like toddlers going up to do what they want. Oh, you pity, you bad understanding. You allow them to do what they want. TPT mwen gate maza mwen ka discipline ni mavle we hele. Okay, so ou pa vle we hele le piti Amerika me glonz yo le even plus bon So you choose.
Yes.
So right now you need to discipline your child. Okay, over to you.
And the law makes provisions for you to homeschool your child. But you have to be, it has to be satisfactory to the education officer and the minister. It has to, because you cannot say, okay, I'm going to homeschool my child, and you don't even know how to add 5 plus 7. You know what I mean? It is impossible. It's crazy.
Yes.
You understand? There must be a level that you are at, and so you will be able to homeschool your child. You might be able to homeschool your child from maybe 5 to the age of 10, because maybe you have that capacity within you.
Yes.
You can do that. But when it gets to maybe CPA level and common intro and CXC level, you are not capable to do that, you'll not be able to homeschool the child.
Definitely not.
So the options are there, people. There are options to homeschool your child if you meet the means of the minister, because in chapter 48, we read here, valid excuses from attendance. So it says, a student shall be excused from school attendance if A, in the opinion of the minister, the student is receiving satisfactory instruction at home or elsewhere. So your child is homeschooled, or maybe the community that you're from, 3 or 4 people in the community decide, you know what, we can come together and school our kids in the community rather than sending them to school. So if that level of education is satisfactory to the minister or to the education officer, that can be allowed. So your child is allowed to be out of school because of that. But they must be receiving a satisfactory level of education that meets the standard. B, the student is excluded from attendance at school under any provision of this act or the regulations made thereunder. So, like I said, there are provisions made why you can be out of school. C, the student is unable to attend school because of sickness, danger of infection, infirmity, sudden or serious illness of parents, or other related cause. So, for example, during COVID, persons were not able to attend school because there was a danger of infection. Sometimes at the preschools, a lot of the children have the cold. If you realize your child has a cold, you will not send your child to school because it will infect the others. So these are reasons why you can have your child at home. Your child is sick. Let's say you are the only parent caring for your child, and you are in a condition where you really and truly you cannot lift your hand. There is nobody else to do anything. Your child can be excused, but it has to be something where something has to be done quickly so that the child can return to school. You cannot say, oh, I'm malade, so you need to l'école pour venir garder pour moi. No, that cannot happen. Right? These things cannot happen. And every single excuse why a child is out of school is stipulated right here in the Education Act. Right? The student is suffering from a physical or mental disability that, in the opinion of a registered medical practitioner, makes the student incapable of being educated by ordinary methods of instructions. Some people self-diagnose their children. Oh, officer, if I bought it, I will call. Kill doctor can do, sir. Are you a doctor? Are you a medical professional? A medical professional is the only one that can say categorically that child is unable to attend school because they have a mental condition or because they have a physical condition. That child must see a medical professional. Not while I didn't see a doctor, I said a medical professional. And having seen a medical professional, then you will receive the documentation that the child cannot be educated by these methods. So, okay, for example, you have a child who is blind, and Soufrière Primary or Soufrière Compre doesn't make provision for a blind child because maybe the textbooks and whatnot are not in Braille. Or your child is deaf. The Soufrière Primary and Soufrière Compre does not make, or the primary or secondary school on the whole does not make provision for a deaf child because the teachers do not speak sign language. But there are schools, however, that make provision for that.
Definitely.
So you would go to Soufrière Special Education Center, Vieux-Fort Special Education Center, the one up in Castries. There are provisions made under the law for these students to attend school. And you would see those students are the most diligent students. Those who have those disabilities, they want to be at school. They want to go to school. You would go to special ed in Vieux-Fort, and you would see the boys there. Some of them have beard already, but they still want to be at school.
Want to be at school, yes.
But We see those who are able-bodied and there's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing physically wrong with them. They have no impediment. And you probably l'école. They do not want to go to school. They want to remain on the streets. They want to go and hustle the tourists for $5. They want to do all kind of things instead of going to school. And when you talk to the parents, so whose responsibility? Who is responsible?
They give up already.
If you as a parent have given up, who now takes the mantle and says, you know what, I'll take responsibility? Who will do it?
Your own child.
Yesterday at the intervention, remember I said to the students, I said to the parents there, you did what you did, you got pregnant. And at that stage, you realize, hey, I am pregnant. I have a decision to make. You decided, I am going to have a child.
Yes.
You're going to take that responsibility and have a child. For whatever reason. For whatever reason. Some reasons might be selfish, some reasons might be genuine reasons why, you know what, I don't have a child, I want a child. Fine. You decided you want to have a child. Now you've had that child. It is now your responsibility to clothe, feed, shelter, and educate that child.
Basic necessities.
Yes, and properly at that. And the government has made it so easy to educate a child. Every community that you live in has a school.
And they receive free education.
Free education. You don't have to pay a cent. Send your child to school. There are school feeding programs at the school. Social services are in place. If you need, okay, maybe you don't have money to buy a uniform, I'm sure social services can assist to buy a little uniform or buy a school shoe or something so that child can get to school. There are things in place,
But
people.
if somebody will ask you in regards to the school feeding program, do you have to make a contribution?
You do have to make a contribution, but there is a needy list that if your child cannot
needy
pay,
list, yes.
Needy list,
yes,
okay.
that if your child cannot pay, they go on the needy list.
Okay.
Some children would be, some of us have a lot of pride, we will not go, but of course, even at the secondary schools, they have the welfare programs where children do get their meals and so on, as long as the teachers are away.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So there's no excuses.
None.
No.
None.
And one point I wanted to make was Officer Stevens said about the special education. I realized we don't have there was no provision made in the Act for special education, and I'm hoping that is revised
Well, it's under
because
review. It's under review,
very
yes.
good. So I'm adding my voice to that revision. So I am saying, I am hoping, and persons who are listening, please hear me. I am very passionate about special education. There is no provision made for parents to send the children to the special education schools. I was a teacher, a special education teacher at that. And we send the children through the MDT process where they are assessed. And of course, when the results come, you are being told that this child cannot, there are no facilities here. Like you said earlier, some schools are not equipped with what the child needs. So they say to send this child over to the special ed school. And some parents refuse to. But there's nothing here to hold the parents accountable. So you find this child who cannot focus, who cannot function in the school setting, the primary school setting or wherever, remains there and goes up. And this child comes out, they cannot do anything with themselves. Okay?
So let me ask you, is it because of the stigma attached to that? That's why parents are saying
There is a stigma attached. They call it the deck school and all schools. But like I said to parents, which is more important, the stigma or your child getting the help that they need to get? Okay? There's stigma attached to a lot. When I was going to do my degree in social work, an institution, one person said to me, persons with issues are persons who go and do social work. And you hear that all the time. Persons with issues go and do social work, or persons who have issues who do counseling. So would that stop me from going to do my degree? No, it won't. So we need to prioritize what is more important. Okay? So education is important for my child. So I'm hoping that something is placed in our Education Act to have parents, to hold parents accountable. Those of these parents who are not sending these children to the special schools to get the proper attention.
Again, folks, while you guys are out here, if you want to make a contribution, remember you can call us at 459-7885. That's the landline. Not forgetting, we have our WhatsApp platform as well, 730-5388. Okay, again, if you want to make a contribution, 730-5388. So add it to your contact list, eh?
So we find that a lot of young persons drop out of school and they say, I couldn't find work for me to do. Right? And one thing we find a lot of is persons who leave A-level, they leave secondary school with good grades, good papers in their hands, are unable to find work. Right? Work is difficult for them. What quality of work you dropping out of Form 1 and Form 2 and Form 3, what quality of work will you get? And I know there's this new talk now of minimum wage and whatnot and whatnot. But I found while going through the Education Act, 47 one
Before
says,
you continue, there's something I want to draw, and I'm hoping that there is somewhere that in the act that will answer this, because it's a little contradictory
Yes.
to what it said, that school age is from 5 to 15.
Yes.
However, there is nothing for child labor. There's what we call child labor, and of course, if you're below the age of 18, you're considered a minor. So, if a child leaves school at 15, as stipulated by the act, what do they do? Question.
What's in the act? I haven't heard what's in the act, though. I haven't heard what's in the act.
I'm saying that I'm
yeah,
hoping
right,
that there's
right.
something here that will address
Yes.
that.
Let me hear what's
So
in there.
if there is not, again, the persons who are revising, persons responsible for revising our Education Act, these are some of the things that we need to look into. Because if we are saying that school leaving age, I mean, this is where you are allowed to leave secondary school. This is the free secondary school. Tertiary, you have to pay for your tertiary level. But if you are saying that a child can be at school, can leave school at the age of 15, then we talk about the child labor, where children cannot work
True.
below the age of 18.
True.
What happens to these children?
We're
I
right.
think,
Yes.
I think when I was growing up, I knew as long as you have an ID, an NIS card, you could have worked in certain places. But you needed the NIS card because obviously you had to pay insurance. So, but you get that at 16. You get your NIS number at 16. So, maybe at 15, because until you turn 16, you're still 15. Right? So, if the school, the age to be at school is 5 to 15, then the minute you turn 16, you are eligible to get an NIS number. And as such, you can work. But only at certain places, because certain places will deal with alcohol and stuff like that, they will not allow you to work. But I guess other places that don't do alcohol, maybe a car wash, maybe working as a secretary or something. you
Then
can
we
work at
have to
16.
then we have to read upon the child
Yes,
labor
yes,
in a
yes,
bit.
Yes.
Yes.
I guess
Okay.
there's a little bit of discrepancy there.
Discrepancies,
Yes, because we know of, and that is not just one thing. There's a lot more. Because recently we were having a conversation about people, the age of consent and the age you can buy contraception and whatever. So that's a whole other
That's
kettle
a
of
kind
fish.
of
But
wolf.
yes. But l'école, school.
yes, because
Yes.
even then, I think I said I think, because I'm not sure if that has been revised, that there was above the age of 13 that you could not have written the common insurance, which was before. But now with CPA, as I said, I'm not sure if that has been revised.
I'm not
So
sure.
some children had passed the age where they had to, because sometimes they have to be repeated.
Yes.
So they could not have gotten to sit that exam, and where that would have given them a pass to a secondary school. So some children, I know of children who have had to drop out of the primary school
at 13.
because they could not have gone. But now with our universal education system, I do not know what has happened with that. But of course I know there is care, but with care
You have to
there
pay.
comes a
Yes.
cost.
But
Okay?
they used to have something called common middle from primary. Maybe.
Yeah, I feel some-
What is
I-
there? Is
that
there
wasn't-
is there any version of that still left?
I ain't know that.
No.
I wasn't like in standard 6.
So
or
yes,
something.
Yeah.
when they used to have
That
the
was
standard
Yes,
6 and the
yes,
standard
yes,
7, they would
yes.
give the children
Yeah.
an opportunity.
Right.
But no, because you see, before you would have to have a certain average to go to a secondary school, but none of that now.
True.
No matter what you have, you go to a secondary
You go
school.
so-
But I know there was an age limit, so I'm not sure what has come with that.
Well, maybe
Okay.
maybe one of our listeners who
I'm
has-
hoping
who has
that
the-
somebody will
yes,
enlighten
the
us.
information can call in and
Definitely.
let us know.
Yes.
You know, yes, what it is. So we were speaking about the employment and whatnot.
Definitely.
Before. Like I said, 47.1 says, subject to subsection 2, a person who employs a child of compulsory school age, 5 to 15, during the school year, commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $2,000. There are many things in that piece there that you have to pick, right? It says a person who employs a child of compulsory school age, like I said, 5 to 15, but it also adds during the school year. So the time that they should be in school, they should not be employed.
Well, I think comes with pros and cons. I'll tell you something because, boy, imagine you have peer pressure, all right? You have frustration as a 14-year-old boy. You have to be taking care of your mother or your little brother or whatever family member, and you forced to leave school at that age just to look for, seek employment.
And Father give you a little work.
Boy, and you see the grease coming on the morning night, you understand you're doing a little labor for a day, you getting $80 for your day, put it as that, and then boy, you know that helping feed your family. You see your mother or your little brother going to school. You see, and you know, there's persons, they've been a victim of circumstances. All right, they have been through it. They serious, boy. Imagine, boy, man, after just leave their school work and then, you know,
Go get a job.
go get a job to feed the family.
Yeah. Now you find before, Ellen, it was even harder, but now they have put things in place to assist with that. So this is why when the parents cannot work or something is happening, it is not much, but there is a welfare system where the parents and the children can be on welfare. You find there is SSDF who assists with even groceries and school books and school shoes and whatever. I'm not saying they can do it all the time.
Let me ask you, is that welfare thing similar to the La Chopov or this?
Yes,
Some-
WAP,
yeah, something
right,
like that. I don't know.
right.
That's
Okay,
Yes,
alright.
it is. It is not much, like I'm saying, that it will hold you for the month for whatever, but it is something. What I am thinking that was put in place for is that we do not want that exactly what you said there, that any child whosoever has to drop out of school to go and feed the family. This is what they are trying to avoid, because children should be at school no matter what. I do understand. Okay, and this is what I'm saying, that a situation like this, as a parent, the parent should come forward and say, look, I cannot work. Something is wrong with me. This is the situation here. So we can see how best we can assist. Even the child should go to their teachers and say, this is the situation at home. Okay, because if you do not know, how are you going to help?
True.
Okay, so this child now should find somebody to speak to and say, Miss, Sir, this is what I'm going through, and this is why aren't you coming to school, John? John, you're never at school. I'm seeing wherever. Miss, Sir, this is the situation at home. Nobody's going to come down on this child for that, but try to seek assistance.
Because even in Sufra, I think that's been plaguing us in regards to children lingering over at the piers, trying to hustle down the tourists. I on multiple occasions, police officers, you yourself have been mentioned of that, and even I feel SRDF under SRDF's umbrella person has come, you know, just trying to highlight that, so you know you can sensitize and of course curb that. How's that working for you, by the way?
With me, I know. Let me try and explain it to you how it works when I step onto the waterfront. Or I've seen the other officers try it as well. When the guests come in, we sometimes if we are there, we walk out to them, so you can see that they're coming in. Now, you familiar with fish when you put your feet in the water, all the little fish running.
Yes.
That's what happens. As long as you step out, all of them running. Now, as a police officer, how you just 6-7 little boys just running in their little shorts, and again, the conversation goes back to the parents. How are you a parent? You are the parent of that child. You are telling me that this child does not want to go to school, but rather to go on the waterfront, picks flowers on the waterfront and go and give it to a guest and try to hustle them for $1, $2 and come back. Oh, you probably call on the waterfront, they play with it. That's okay with you? As a parent, you know, people will blame everybody. Oh, police are back at fire. Oh, social worker back at fire. Oh, this. Where is the responsibility of the parent to say, only call?
Where's the penalty in the law to
Now,
charge the parent for that?
There is. I read it already. You know. I read it
Okay.
already.
Now, you know, they have some parents that listen to you, because that money, you pay me call him, guy, you say go numb. Your parents will tell you, you
Yes.
pay me my you can't say, you pay me
And this is why I said it happened before.
Right.
But not now, because you would find a lot of people are complaining now. Depuis juin, moi didn't travail. I've been here for 8 years. Ulan just come in, because Ulan have a little piece of paper. He cannot even do the job. He's now my manager. And you hearing it now?
Of course. You hear it everywhere.
So now it's a different ball game. It's about qualification. Yes, of course, you could get a job, become you can go into construction, right? You can go into construction. But if you do not have your firm registered, you do not have the proper paperwork, don't you think that somebody who has a proper paperwork and registered will get more money than you? Of course.
Now, I love the nature of that conversation, boy. Paperwork's been certified.
Yes.
Yeah, because a lot of us will come and, for true, like you mentioned, just to reiterate, yes, sir. Sometimes you might know the work, paperwork, practical. But theoretically,
Exactly.
in theory, is me have to do the job for you to make you look good.
Yes.
You understand? But you getting a higher salary than I.
Exactly.
You understand? I have the experience.
So the
I'm
system
knowledgeable.
said- so the system said-
you
so
get
the
it.
system
You
said,
check
my
it.
brother.
You
That's
understand the
how it
vibe.
is.
That is the reality of it. There's no running away. There's no two way about it. You understand?
Yes. So this is what we're trying to encourage now, for you to get this piece of paper so you could get.
Now, apart from the piece of paper, children or persons generally need to know how to read and write. Sometimes you could be one of the best craftsmen, and then you can even add. I can just come and tell you, well, I'll give you 50s, give you 10 50s, and tell you that it's $50,000.
Yes.
But
and you cannot.
in reality,
Yes.
yeah, you see the money.
Yes.
But
Okay.
again,
When I go to the schools, right? This is one of the
you
things.
can write your name, how you open
Yes.
your bank account.
That's one of the things that I normally do with them.
Are you making a transaction?
I put down on the board $1,000 a month, and to them it sounds like
A lot of
in a grand a
money.
month.
Yeah, people.
Let's break it down.
People.
Let's break it down. You'll want to have a child. Even before you have a child, let's put a child out of it. You have your loans. You paying your rent. You paying your water.
You want to buy a ride?
Yeah.
No, come with me for a ride. No, come with me for a ride. You paying your bills. You paying your rent, food, your bus to go to work, or even if you walk into work. When you put all of those things down, you know sometimes at the end of the month, $40 only. So how now you taking the loan to buy the ride?
Are you saving?
Exactly.
Are you saving?
And how can you buy a dress for your girlfriend?
What girlfriend? How? How can you afford it? It's
Exactly.
madness. It is madness. And I know there is this big conversation around the minimum wage and the review of the minimum wage, and there's draft bills and draft. I welcome it. Anything that will give somebody an extra dollar in the pocket, I welcome it, because the cost of things are so high. And I try to bring it to the students at the school level that, hey, you cannot shoot yourself in the foot by saying you do not need school. School is important. If you get the education and you're good at it, you're a good craftsman, you have opportunity, you have options. You can decide. Who says that Fata cannot be a banker and still be doing cupboards for people?
Exactly.
Who says that you cannot
You
be
must have- you
an
can have your
international cricketer and
trade.
still doing roofs for people?
Yes.
There is no limit to it. So why limit yourself and say, you know what, I don't need school because I can do that?
Yes.
Why limit yourself?
But remember, yesterday we were having that conversation of our great cricketer, and we were saying that, look, school is important, that you had to go back to school because, okay, you have to give an interview, okay? You have to maybe have a workshop for upcoming children. So then what do?
Yes.
You understand? So these are the things we're saying, and persons are not understanding that even if you become a great footballer and you do not know how to read and write,
It's
when you go
problems,
out
it's
there,
problems.
problems for you.
It's problems.
So education, no matter what and how you look at it, twist and turn, there is no way about it. You need your education. So we have gone, of course. Let's continue.
There are a lot of persons who, especially musicians, they hear a song and
They can play it by ear.
They can
Mhm.
just
They play by
oh
ear.
yeah, but give them the sheet music.
They cannot
They
read
cannot
it.
read it.
And many of our
They cannot read
musicians
it.
in St. Lucia like
They
that.
cannot read, and if
Yes.
they could have read the music, then maybe they could have put up proper arrangements together and so, you know what I mean. But the problem is the lack of education, the interest in education in this country, and we're trying to bring it home. How can you, as a parent, look at a child that you have, and you know the difficulties that you went through as a parent. You know it. Because sometimes some of those parents dropped out, maybe they got pregnant early and they dropped out of secondary school or for whatever reason, right? You now have a child, and you are watching that child pretty much follow the same pattern that you had. You went through, you struggled, you saw it was hard for you. Why do you think now it's going to be easier for your child? Recently I had a conversation with a woman. I said to her, but why isn't your child at school? I realize he's not going to school. Oh, muna di may pabla ili ko. So I said to her, and that's and I'm wondering myself, how did these people become parents? You know what I mean? As if so I am asking her, what bill does this man pay at your home? Does he pay a bill at your home? Does he put groceries on the table? How could a child make those kind of decisions at your home as an adult? But the problem is there is no introspection. The parents refuse to look at themselves and their shortcomings. They'll blame Miss Bodimate, they'll blame me. They'll blame all the principals, all the teachers. Oh, you pakota Ishmael come prayer. You pakota Ishmael. Every single excuse under the sun. But they will never look at themselves and say, you know what, I should have done better or I could have done better.
I'm feeling my child.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes.
I was part of the recipe for this.
They will
Definitely.
never take the blame. You go to football, father. When you're at football, the amount of children you see there were their parents.
Yeah. There's no parent.
No parents, nothing. The kids are on their own to do what they want.
Yeah.
Oh, it make a football. And that's it.
Unsupervised.
That's it. You are at your home, in your bed, and your child says to you, Mommy, I'm going to football. Or Daddy, I'm going to football, and that's okay. Leave the homes and go to football and come back. Football in summer finishes sometimes 11, midnight. So your child leaves the playing field 11, midnight, all kind of time.
Shall have to go to school tomorrow. Tomorrow they can't even get up.
And they see, and you speak to them, and they see nothing wrong with that. They blame everybody.
Enjoy for you.
I tell them, when I was growing up, my mother was strict, and I say strict for the reason, because sometimes, in my community, used to have seminal, right? So around Christmas time, from the time I can make running the buzz it, September, October, November, December, there's seminal in my community. And at night, seminal will go up and down the road, especially on the weekend. People playing the cultural music and they go up and down the road. And you know, it's through the window I have to watch that. All my friends on the road laughing. Hey, pass us a door. In the window I am watching that. In whose house am I leaving to go to seminal? When school is closed, that's fine.
Yes,
I can go, and she will send me with an adult, an older person who is responsible. But you cannot tell me it's Sunday night, Monday has school, your child will leave home at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the PM and say, oh, I go in football, mommy, and nothing is wrong with that.
They don't have a
Nothing is wrong
curfew.
with that.
They don't have a curfew.
After 10, after 11, children are on the waterfront, children are seen behind grown men riding scooters, and nothing is wrong with that. And then you will tell me it's the police fault, and it's the so someone would have jumped over scooter, kick scooter. So how am I stopping a scooter with a child behind it?
And then they call the school tomorrow and say, Miss, he cannot come to school because he couldn't wake up, or she couldn't wake up. Anyways, so this is why I'm saying there are penalties, and of course we need to start enforcing the law. Have the penalties, because unless this is not done, nothing, no matter what I do or you do, it won't help, because we know the root of the problem. So now we have to go down to the root of these problems.
The thing is, it begins with the school, because every morning a school takes up a register. And I think they do it after lunch as well.
Yes,
But
it's a very long process as well. Huh?
I left school when Moses was a schoolboy, so I mean that's a long time ago, right? But I am saying I knew they take the registers.
Yes,
so,
morning and afternoon.
Yes.
Yes. Morning, I can't remember afternoon.
So yes, after lunch you're supposed to
take the register as well. Because some children can be at school half day. Yes.
So what happens is, again, since the schools are community schools, most schools in St. Lucia are community-based schools, barring just a select few of them. So you would know who the parents are, who the students are, and sometimes even their circumstances. You would know that as a teacher or as a principal, as an administrator of the school. So you know you have not seen Erlen for 2 days. You go to there is a register there with all the parents and the numbers and whatnot. Where is Erlen? I have not seen him today. Oh, miss, he'll come in tomorrow. He's not feeling too well. There is that conversation. There is that connect. But sometimes they call the parents, they don't get them. Your child has not been at school for 2 days and we got to get them. So sometimes, and I know that, the principals go to the homes and ask them, oh, I've not seen your child. Where's the child? Oh, Miss So-and-so is the case. Oh, Miss Ipa. You understand? Now the school's responsibility now is to tabulate a report and hand it over to the education officer who then passes it on to the it used to be Mr. Tutu, I'm not sure who's.
I think now we have Mr. Schiffer.
Mr. Schiffer?
Yeah.
Right. The truancy officer. And then the truancy officer conducts the investigation. And based on the results of the investigation, the information is brought to the officers, and then it's taken from there. The charges are laid from there. But the investigation has to be done preliminary by the truancy officer. So these things have to take place. The issue that we have in our little island is with so many schools and so many students, and there's only one truancy officer.
One truancy officer on island.
Our prime minister,
On island.
our prime minister has a deputy, an assistant, a PS. You know, everybody has this and that. But you're telling me, for our education system, primary, secondary, there's one truancy officer. And he has to go to all the schools to make sure that it's madness. It is madness.
I totally agree.
We speak about those things openly as if it cannot work. You cannot have one person responsible for the entire island to do so much work. It's too much for that person.
Hence me saying it's a very long process.
Yes.
Because when you have all these children here, one truancy officer, how exactly is he going to be productive?
And he has to conduct investigations.
There you
He has to go to the homes. He has to visit the homes and find out where is those students, why are they not at school, what is the problem. And based on his investigation, then it is charges may or may not be laid.
Exactly.
So when they say, oh, put your power with him, mama, the process,
It's
there is
a
a
long
process. There's a long process.
Tedious.
It is tedious,
Okay.
but I think the major factor is that there's only one person doing it. So if you give one person to do that, to cover an entire country, we will get one or two, but for the most part, and sometimes, when the children's officer comes to the homes, the children go to school after that. So his job or his work is effective. But being that he has such the scope is so large, so wide, it is just too much. It is impossible for him to do all of that by himself. We try to assist. If the principal calls me and tells me that this student has not been at school for such and such a day or whatever, I visit the homes, I call the parents, I go and conduct my own investigation, find out why the child is not at school. But at the end of the day, I cannot jump the gun.
Yeah.
There must be a procedure that has to be followed. I cannot go and charge a parent because the child is not at school.
Yeah.
The procedure has to be followed before it comes to me. You understand? You cannot just go out there and say, oh, we should buy the call now when they charge you. The procedures must be followed, and that is the problem. We have one person to cover all of what we've been discussing there this morning. One person has to do all of that. And it is crazy. And if we are saying that, we want to see our students at school, we want to see our youth do well, we want to hold our youth and the parents especially accountable, we must put things in place to cause those things to happen.
We must put a lot of things in place because the majority of sectors that deals with these issues are short-staffed.
Yes.
And not short-staffed because, of course, they're not getting persons to work, but short-staffed because, of course, we cannot hire more of social workers, we cannot hire more of the police, and we cannot hire more. So you find the persons who are doing these jobs, of course, it's a lot for them.
Yes.
Okay.
And understandably so, because government is so top-heavy with persons, because there's a lot of government workers in our small country.
Definitely.
So it is, but I think some things need to be taken. You cannot shortchange the children, who we say are the future of our country. True. And if we say that they are the future, we must give them every opportunity to thrive.
Definitely.
We cannot
we
cannot do that. We cannot do
Totally
it
agree.
because how you telling a child education is the key? education is the key for everything. Education is the key for this and education. And then when it comes to it, education is more expensive than anything else.
Richie Spice said that way. If education is the key, tell us
Why
why the
it's
bigger head
expensive for we?
make it so
Yes.
expensive for us to afford.
So
That's facts, man.
it's just
fact.
I don't think we have enough time to dive into
We're
that
actually
and
out of time, so I was just thinking
That's
that
facts,
I was
boy.
just thinking that we'll have to have a part
A
two,
part two,
because
yes.
this discussion is very enlightening. It is very necessary, so we must continue,
yes.
Officer Stephen.
And
So I'm hoping that next week we will be back here to do.
I must say
part
that
two.
I am disappointed that we got no calls, nobody asking for any information, nobody.
They
Yeah,
do send
they
they
do
would
it,
be
but,
sending
today,
the
I don't know.
feedback and so on.
But I mean,
So-
these are the kind of discussions that we need to have as a community and as a people,
Mm-hmm.
because we as adults in the community, we see those young children who don't go to school. We see them and we say to ourselves, "But kiko te kai to avai, kisa yo kai fair."
But you know some of the things that you hear parents say, which is heartbreaking. Est-ce que dit maman ni pour lever ishmo? Comment nous y pour vendre maman ni pour lever ishmo? Ou ka aider moi am soin yo. Ou ka aider moi
Yes,
soin
I
yo.
remember one said that to you. Yes, I remember
So
that.
so these are the things you get, and these are the very same parents, mind you.
That need the help the most.
When you see something happens, they will run to you, officer, social worker. So, but we spoke to you, miss.
Yes.
We spoke to you, ma'am. You know, so this is why we come out here, parents especially. We come out here to educate
True.
you.
Facts.
We come out here to speak to you. You might be thinking, okay, why are they so much on the parents? Why are they so much at us? We are trying to educate you, because right now we're trying to be proactive instead of reactive. So we want to prevent things from happening, not come to you and try to offer a solution to a problem. So we're trying to prevent the problem altogether. So when we, myself, the CRB officer, the social worker comes to you to assist, we are not trying to judge you. We are not trying to say how to raise your child in a sense that, okay, you're a bad parent and so on. We're guiding you. Okay, and especially when it comes to education, we want to do what's best for this child. It's heartbreaking even that you find some persons of different religions that have spoken highly of Rastafarians. When Rastafarians tell you they don't believe in the Babylonian system and they don't send the children to school, okay? What will these children do when they grow up?
Because we have that in Sophia.
Okay? It is all over St. Lucia. All over St. Lucia. What will these children do when they grow up? You are the father who's a Rastafarian, the mother who's a Rastafarian. That does not mean your child, when your child grows up, wants to follow through with farming and doing the little things that you do. And you still need the education to do that. And like we were talking about the piece of paper, the qualification, they need the qualification to move on. God forbid you fall down and die. What happens to these children tomorrow? Okay? That these children cannot go and get a job because, hey, I was not sent to school. Okay? So I have to continue selling my corn.
Yes.
If Officer Stephen and Ulan here does not want to pay $5 for that corn, I really need the money. I am forced to sell it for $2. You understand? So it is really heartbreaking. We need the education. We're not trying to force things down your throat that is not necessary. We are doing it because we see the need for it.
I think you made a very, very interesting point when you said, God forbid that you should die.
But it is the truth.
Because a lot of people believe they are going to live forever. I'll always be in my child's life. I'll always be the one working and making money and sending that child to school and taking care of that child. What happens in the event that you are not able to do so?
Exactly.
What happens in the event that you leave your home to go to work and you get into an accident somewhere and you never make it back home? Who is responsible? How have you raised those children? And I remember a friend of mine from Canary said that when his mother died, I think both his parents died, but I know for sure, I think he said his mother died. And persons were coming to adopt. And he keeps telling me, you adopt me, adopt my and he makes light of it now, but I'm pretty sure at the time it was difficult for him.
Definitely.
So people need to understand that you don't raise your child for yourself. You are raising a child for the society, for the community, for the world at large. So you need to raise that child properly, and everybody needs and is entitled to a quality education. and it is offered at the schools in St. Lucia. Or if you want to homeschool your child, it is available as well. There's Google Classroom. There's all those things available.
It is available, of course, but then, like you were saying, that it has to be approved by the ministry because you have to get your certification. Because this child, education is okay. We all can, to some extent, we can speak the English language and so on. You cannot say, okay, I am teaching my child how to count. Like you were saying, and you made a very valid point when you said that you can teach your child 5 plus 7 and up to the age 10 because that's what you know.
Yes.
Do you know physics? Do you know chemistry? Do you know geography? You understand? How can you teach when that child gets to secondary school level? What do you teach that child? Okay? So what you going to tell the child? Ou pas besoin faire ça because dans les femmes n'ont qu'à aller. Mate fait ça ou pas besoin ça. What if you don't die? But you, God forbid, you get a stroke or you get something that you're bedridden. Then what? You still need this same child to go and work to take care of you now.
And now you have shot that child in the leg because that child now is operating with a disability.
And then you turn around and say, oh, because moi c'est Rasta. Huh? Because they've been biased against me and so on because moi c'est Rasta. You're pas contre Rasta. And that's not the truth.
Education
Okay?
is very important.
Education is very important. So persons who are fighting against it, who are fighting ou pas éducation. Gasa, ou aller tout college là avec n'a fait pli la han pa ou. I've heard that so many times. Yes. Okay, our choice of jobs gets us more money, fine. But of course, it is very important to have the basics. It's very important to have your skill set, your knowledge. Nobody's against you by telling you to have a sound education. Because if you look, I'm sorry to cut you off. If you look at it, for example, when you look at families of long ago, right? And you realize that there were many housewives, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong because if I get a husband that wants to make me a housewife to take care of me, I'm fine.
Let me just say that I want to be a house husband. I would think I could do that.
I am quite fine with that. You understand? But what I'm saying is that before, and I would say it, I would think this is why. I would say it, I would think this is why many persons took a lot. You understand? A lot people tolerated so much because they did not have a choice. They did not have a choice because the ladies could not go out there to get a job because they did not have a choice in going out there. They did not have the education. They did not have the skill set to do so. But now you find people are pushing themselves, and what has what has empowered us? What has empowered persons now? Education. So I leave this right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the issue that I'm seeing is I don't find a lot of our girls dropping out of school.
The boys.
A lot of our young men. And this is going to be a major problem in the years to come.
It already is a major problem.
We are going to have, like Ms. Bodimate said, it's already an issue. It's already a problem.
It is.
Yes.
It is already an issue.
So,
yes.
parents, please send those children to school. And if you cannot send them to school, cause them, according to the law, to go to school.
To go to school.
Come to the station, come to the social worker, go to who you have to go to. Come to the station, ask for Officer Stephen.
Definitely.
They have to go to school. You're at a school age, you have to go to school. And stop making excuses for those children. Because at the end of the day, they are just that. They are children. And if they get their way, they will be glad. But as a parent, you have the responsibility, the responsibility to do what is right and what is good. And what is good and what is right is to send your child to school, afford that child a proper education.
Definitely. So when we come back next week, which we will, we are going to continue with the labor code, the acts for working, the school age and working and so on. So we will have a part 2. So look out for us, myself and Officer Stephen, next week Wednesday.
Okay. I'll check the schedule first. Yeah. I'll try my best.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
You asked for more live and relevant talk shows, and we heard you.